right, let's do it.
Let's do it to it.
Boo.
No, they can't get far.
Escaping the realm of darkness, the paranormal guys are on a quest to find the answers to the hard questions of where the normal meets the paranormal and the weird, and where the natural meets the unnatural. So grab your holy water, call your mama, and get ready for the Paranormal Guys podcast.
Hello, everyone. I hope everybody's doing very well. Today's date is 9/17/2023. That is September 17th, boys and girls. This podcast will be coming on 9/21, which is September 21st, 2023, after 12 p.m. You will be able to listen to the great hosts, Steve Leinweber and his co-host, Neal Gibbons. And we are going to be actually talking about today, after 12 o'clock, we're going to be talking about Ouija boards, and we're going to be talking about spirit boxes. We got Mr. Mike Minigh from Paraflix's We Are Paranormal, and we got Miss Kat Armstrong. I met Kat over the springtime at an event at a con that we went to in Wisconsin, me and Steve did. Mm-hmm. And we talked, and we were talking about Ouija boards and spirit boxes, and she was very nice enough to come on to the show. So sit back after what we're going to talk about, the news and what's going on, what's new with you, what's new with us, and we're going to have that interview. It's a very delightful interview. Should I use delightful? Should I use that word?
It is delightful, Neal.
Is it delightful?
And spooky.
And spooky.
I mean, are spirit boxes and Ouija boards kind of the same thing? You
know what? It's up for everybody to decide in the end. I remember when you first came to me with the chakra box that you had.
Right.
And then you developed it into the Anahata box, and you built the Anahata box. And I said to you, hey, Steve, what we're really looking at here is an updated electronic Ouija board. And that was my first impression on it. It's not that my mind completely changed on it, but I think there's differences, and that's what's going to be part of this episode, is knowing the differences between spirit boxes and Ouija boards, and the discussion about them, and how people handle these things, how they open these things, how they close these things, and what you should and should not do.
Closing is an important thing to do, and I didn't know that when we had the first box. And we had some crazy things going on in our house, Neal. My wife did not want that box in the house. I'd go to work, and then she started to see like shadows and stuff like that, and the laundry machine would turn on by itself. A lot of weird stuff. So
I mean, do we attract in these things by turning on these machines or playing with Ouija boards? And a lot of it is I believe, intent of the individual. What you see is what you get. What you ask is what you receive.
It's all about intent.
So moving on a little bit, we will be getting into that very soon. What's new with you? What's shaking, Bacon?
What's shaking? You know how I never watch TV? I actually started watching something.
What'd you start watching?
It's not for everybody, but I like it. It's called The Chosen, and it's like on Amazon Prime. It's really cool. I mean, I think you'd really like it, especially the first episode, because it does deal with a bit of demonic possession and exorcism.
Okay.
And stuff. But it's biblical. It's based on New Testament stuff. And they did a lot of exorcisms back then. I really like the angle they're coming from on it, but I also think that you're going to love the whole demonic possession and exorcism aspect of it.
All right, I'm definitely going to check it out. It probably will not be this weekend, but it'll probably be the next week. I'll check.
Are there any spooky movies that you've seen? Anything?
So you know what I've been watching Interview with a Vampire, the TV series on Max. It actually, by watching this TV show has given me interest now to buy this book, because I want to see what is the real story. I mean, they're similar in nature, these two storylines, but I'm really, really enjoying this show. But they only did one season so far. So they left you with this cliffhanger,
Okay.
And I'm like, man. And I Googled it. I said, oh, is there going to be a part 2? And they're saying, well, everything's on hold because of the writer's strike and stuff. And I said, damn. I go, I hope they don't get rid of this show. This is a good show. Because there was another show that was on Netflix. It was a serial killer show. I forgot the name of it, that they discontinued at one time too. And I was like, man, they were just get to the good stuff. So I hope that Interview with a Vampire, I recommend people to watch it. If you like the romanticized thing about vampires.
What do you mean romanticize? Like, is it
all
lovey?
I'm sorry, the allure. The allure.
Oh.
The word, the allure. See, like, I've always been interested in vampires, like a lot of people then. And I enjoy the allure effect of vampires.
Okay.
I enjoy watching them, going all the way back to when you were talking about Bram Stoker, to the original Dracula. Just how they're so refined, well-spoken. But behind all that well-spokenness is the devil.
Is it the devil? Or is
it Satan? I don't know. But it's a vampire. It is evil. Let's put it that way. Behind all that is there's something evil, something malevolent waiting for you. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, so I dig it the most. Let's get on to some of the things that we're going to be getting into. So we're about to get into spooky season, which would be October. We're only like 2 weeks away from that.
Can you believe that?
I know. It's crazy.
October.
Man,
I got my background. Also.
I know. I like your background. You got the Archer Avenue.
Haunted Archer Avenue.
Our tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, Steve developed that picture right there. One of the things that we're going to be doing is our first and I believe this is our 8th year doing this, the Nightlife Tour. So we have the Paranormal Nightlife Tour. Graveside Paranormal presents Paranormal Nightlife Tour. Tour dates. We will be starting on Friday the 13th.
Ooh.
We will be doing Friday the 13th, which is a Friday, of course. And then the next day, which is the 14th, then the 20th, then the 21st, the 27th, and 28th. Now
so
that's
6 times. We got 6 opportunities for the Nightlife Tour.
And that's just for the Nightlife Tour. And one of the cool things about it, ladies and gentlemen, out of all the things we're going to be telling you the ghastly story of the Butcher of Palis Park, the Wailing Lady of Archer Wood Cemetery, as well as there's a shadow person in Archer Wood Cemetery that we will kind of try to check photos for, which we've gotten before. We will talk about the miracle child Mary Alice Quinn, one of my favorite stories. We will go to the back end of Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. We will talk, of course, about Resurrection Mary over at Chet's Melody Lounge, the famous Chet's Melody Lounge. But the big thing that I think everybody's going to love is the Haunted Archer Avenue inside St. James Cemetery, otherwise known as Monk's Castle. It is going to be a lantern tour. Graveside Paranormal went out and bought some lanterns for everyone.
Are they gas?
No, they're not gas, thank the Lord.
Good. I don't want to
need somebody to catch on fire. And so we are going to be going out there doing a little lantern tour. So that's the first one will be starting off on Friday the 13th. Come on out. We promise you a good time. That's about a 4.5-hour tour for the price of, what do we have that price at? Pull that up again.
Yeah, $49.
$49.99.
For anyone under the age of 21 must be accompanied by an adult over 21.
Thank you. Very good, Steve.
Thank you. All
right, and that pulls us over to now our Supernatural Archer Tour. So
tell me about what is Archer Tour? Are we talking about like a bow and arrow archer, or is this the
Archer Avenue Tour?
And everybody knows
Archer
Avenue is very haunted.
Yes. So up and down Archer Avenue, there's a lot of stories, and there's more stories than what we're going to be talking about. Because there's just so many. The Archer Avenue is believed to have a thing called ley lines that lay underneath the earth, which causes supernatural activity. And with this supernatural activity, I believe it's environmental, where on certain days it's at a low level, and on certain days it'll get at a higher level, which causes us this supernatural activity to occur. That's why you start seeing like ladies in white, otherwise known as Resurrection Mary, going up and down Archer Avenue. So we're going to be going there, and we're going to start with the Wailing Lady of Archer Wood Cemetery. It's right off Archer Avenue. Then we're going to be talking about the Werewolf Boy of Sacred Heart Cemetery. Then the haunting story of Resurrection Mary at Chet's Melody Lounge. And then you're going to also, once again, go into St. James Cemetery, and you're going to be doing a lantern tour there as well. Then you're also going to go to the gates of Resurrection Cemetery. I'm sorry, Resurrection Cemetery, to see the missing bars that are missing. They were originally there, but for like the last 2 years, the Catholic cemetery decided to remove them. Why? We have no idea. We would love to know. If anybody does know why, please send that to Neal, Neal, at gravesideparanormal.com. Nobody has ever told me why they have been removed. But I think by removing them, now you're putting up more questions that need answers. Why? Why those 2 bars? The ones that are so they have the fingerprints on them.
Just to be clear, you're not going to see the missing bars. You're going to see that the bars are missing.
The bars are missing. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
I don't want to false advertise. You're going to see
right. You're
bars.
not going to see the bars. You're absolutely right, Steve. You know what? Because we do get people.
You might. Who knows?
We do get people who go, Neal, that's not what you said, buddy.
You said, and it was $37. You know, that price is not bad. If you are the nightlife tour where Neal and I are going to be on, $49.95. It's like an extra hour on that tour, right?
It's an extra hour and a half.
An hour and a half.
You're gonna on the nightlife tour. It's an hour and a half more.
Okay.
Where this is mainly just Archer Avenue, and it's a Thursday night one. Reason why we put this one together is a lot of people have to go to work the next day, but they also want to enjoy going out on a Thursday night, and they're usually the younger folks who like to go out there because they all work the next day on a Friday. So, but sometimes they're off on Thursdays, or they work like the third shift, which is actually the first shift, midnights. So there's a lot of people out there who came to us last year and sent me emails about it. So we put together something for everybody.
Right. And we got some really cool tour operators for this Thursday. They won't be you and me, but
Mr. Tony Sabelski is going to be out there. He's very well known in the Chicago community, also in other communities as well. He has been doing this a very long time, and people just love him. People love what you see is what you get with Tony. He takes his time with everything. He's a very good speaker. He explains it thoroughly, everything that is going to be talked about on this tour. So you're in good hands on the 19th with him. So I think everybody's going to be going out there. And also, Kylie's going to be out there doing working with him as well, which is awesome.
Kylie's also known as
the Little Horror Girl. Scary
girl.
Yes.
Horror.
You know, like a horror movie, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Then we got one more Thursday. So we got October 26th, and that one there, Mr. Bob Anderson from Bob After Dark is going to be your host. He is going to be doing the tour for the Supernatural Archer Avenue tour that night. I think a lot of people are going to have a lot of fun. Bob is a good guy. He is someone that you notice that people just listen to. People like to be around him. He is very outgoing, and I think people are going to have a very good time. He's very well spoken, and I think everybody's going to have a great time out there. So I think Graveside Paranormal picked 2 extraordinary people. So
is Count Panic going to be with Bob?
He might be. Might be. So we'll wait and see. We'll see what happens with Count Panic.
Nice. I hope he's there. But I
hope he can get out there.
But Kylie will be there.
Kylie's going to be
with
there.
Bob. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. So then we also have, as usual, the Roth House. We have an overnight stay, 8 p.m. till 4 a.m. at the Roth House located in Watseka, Illinois. This event is going to be the main host, Mr. Pete Christ. He is going to be your lead investigator. And guess what? On that one there, we're also going to have Bob from Bob After Dark as well. Nice. Right now at this time, we're only giving away 12 tickets. 6 have already been sold, so we only have 6 left. So if you want your tickets, get on board as soon as possible. It is $95, 8 p.m. till 4 a.m. You are going to be able to utilize all of our equipment. We're also going to supply food for you, which means a ghost hunter's delicacy, pizza, soda, and cookies. That's the norm, energy food that you're going to be able to have. So we're going to supply that, and we're going to be able to supply all the equipment. What's cool about it is that at the end of the day, we are going to send from your recording devices, as in EVP's audio recordings, we're going to send it to your email to see if you can discover if you caught anything. You can take pictures all day long, run any kind of videos, and we do recommend that you bring your own video cameras if you want. If you do want to utilize something of ours, then bring an SD card. Then you can, switch them out at the end of the day. That's more than we could do that, right, Steve?
Yeah, but that's also kind of goes into the Sunday after, right?
So the next following day, me and Steve are going to be out at the Roth House for an open house. So what it is, you're going to be going to the Roth House again. If you aren't able to get to the one on the 28th, you're going to then go to the one on the 29th. We're going to be starting at about 1 p.m. going to about 8 p.m. What's different about this is that you're going to be able to, with your group of six to eight, are going to be able to go on every floor for about 15 to 20 minutes. First, you're going to hear the story of the Watsika Wonder. Then you're going to be able to utilize our EVP recorders, and at the end of it, you're going to use the Anahata down in the basement area. So you're getting about 20 minutes on every floor, and then we're going to take your recording device, send it to your email so you can listen to the audio later, so you can discover that at home when you're with your friends and your family.
And how much is that?
Dude, only $10. $10.
Nice.
We're giving it away.
That's amazing. And like the night before is for the hardcore people. Listen, if you are into investigating and you haven't been to the Roth House in Watsika, for $95, it's a steal. It's absolutely
gorgeous.
A must. It's beautiful. The energy isn't super spooky, but there is activity. And
the thing
every time we've gone,
it's a very spiritually active home.
Yeah.
We've heard with groups going in there disembodied voices of a girl.
Right.
There's supposedly a shadow person that's down in the basement area near the boiler as well.
Right.
People are saying that they've seen him. I really don't know if I seen him or not seen him. See, because when you're in the dark, sometimes your eyes are going to play with you. That's just what happens. But I think I did see something one time. So it's a very spiritually active home. Spiritualists lived there. When they built the house, Mr. Asa Roth, he was a spiritualist. They used to have seances in there. Could a lot of that energy still be inside that home? I mean, it was already built for doing things like this.
I think there was something there that wasn't not positive at one point. And I think whatever that is, it's bound.
It might be bound. You never ever know.
But it can't really do anything. I think that it's a safe place to be. But
we're not going to send you somewhere. Yeah, we're not going to send you somewhere where like we think that the blood's going to be coming off the walls, and and all of a sudden you're going to hear like red rum, stuff like that.
That'd be $195.
That'd be $295.
$295. No, but this is nice because it's nighttime. It goes into the witching hour, into the devil's hour, and you're there with a small group of people and experienced investigators. And it's really an intimate, cool thing to do. For $95, it's a steal. But the next day, $10 for an hour.
$10.
Get the Rough House off your to-do list, off your bucket list. Come on out.
One of the reasons why we do the open house one is because a lot of people, they reached out to us. So we designed something that is very simple to do, but satisfying.
Right.
Satisfying at the same time. Because there's a lot of people who cannot stay up from 8 p.m. to 4 o'clock in the morning doing full investigations. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not for everyone. We try to make it where it's a daytime open house, and we try to make it very special for everyone. So come on out this year for October. We got a lot going on, and so I hope to see each and every one of you out there. Get an email from me. You guys can also go on our Google, the Graveside Paranormal, and leave a nice review for us as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. So moving on, Steve, after that, like that wasn't enough. Whew, Lord. Let's get into the news.
Let's do it.
Do it. All right. In the news now, this news here is about UFO sighting, a possible UFO sighting. It comes off. This is coming off the podcast that we just did with Don Schmidt with Roswell. So I thought this might be fitting to just put another one out there. If you have not listened to it, I recommend that you listen to it. It's very interesting. We are going to be doing a part 2. I've reached out to Mr. Schmidt. We're just trying to work on the date of doing a part 2 on that. So let's get right to this. Recently, police in Illinois town are trying to identify a mysterious white or translucent object seen flying in the daytime sky. Prophetstown Police Chief Bruce Franks said he was off duty Wednesday when he received a call from an employee at Todd's Tire and Auto. When a crowd had gathered to watch a mysterious object in the sky, witnesses described the object as a white or translucent balloon attached to a box structure, and what some onlookers said appeared to be red lightning. Red lightning. Wow.
Red lightning.
Red lightning.
Like the Flash?
Like the Flash.
Nice.
Frank said the object was stationary in the sky for some time. Officer Boyd Van Deelen said police are still trying to identify the object, but they do not believe it's originated from space or from China. Imagine that. The National Weather Service said it had not launched any balloons in the area recently. Van Deelen said the organization suggested it might be a research balloon launched by another entity. So we're going to have a video from the news thing where we're going to let you guys listen to. Steve, play that.
Here you go.
A strange sight in the skies above Prophetstown, Illinois this evening. Police there responding to reports of something. We don't know what it was floating high in the sky. News 8's Jonathan Fong talked with police and witnesses trying to get to the bottom of this mystery.
This Wednesday afternoon in Prophetstown, there were about a dozen people gathered here at Todd's Tire and Auto to try to make sense of an unusual object spotted in the sky. It drew so much attention that even the police chief had to check it out for himself.
I was off duty, sitting at home, and I got a phone call from a man named, we call him Rocky Ballard, and he works at Todd's Tire and Auto, and he says, hey, I see this, it looks like a balloon, and it hasn't moved in the last 20 minutes.
Once Bruce got to the scene,
He's like, it's right up there, and he points to it, and sure enough, there it was. And it didn't move forever.
his team used optical scopes to get a better look. All we can see is this blob, but they had a better look in person.
Kind of a clear plastic balloon. And what it was doing, we have no idea.
So you don't think it's aliens?
And it's not China.
Police did take some safety measures.
We then notified the Quad City Airport to notify the towers, at least let aircraft know that it looked like it was high enough that it was possibly in the airspace.
But what could it be? The National Weather Service in Quad Cities says it's not theirs.
Their thought was that it may be a research balloon of some sort.
But at least the sighting sparked imagination and curiosity for the town.
I'm at a flag football game now watching my grandson, going to watch my grandson, and I mentioned it here to a couple people, and they're like, oh yeah, we saw that. So everybody around town has seen it, so a lot of people.
In Prophetstown, Jonathan Fong, WQAD News 8.
And by the way, the Pentagon says it's still investigating over 800 cases of mysterious sightings by U.S. military groups, with some reports dating back several decades.
So what's cool about this is it just comes off the podcast that we're doing. I'm not saying it's because of us, but it's an interesting little fact to put out there. I mean, a lot of things are going on now in the MUFON UFO community.
A lot of UFO stuff.
Yeah, a lot of UFO stuff. So, we're going to try to always keep you up to date with what's going on and things that we hear. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do what I did, and because of the last episode that we did.
Yeah, they had like weird stuff happen in Lahaina before the fire.
No.
You hear about the blue lasers that they were seeing? Or was it green laser?
So I saw a video.
Like it was coming out from space. I mean, then they said something about red lightning. I'm just saying, if
what's going on? I mean, really, let's try to figure
hopefully
that out.
nothing happens in Prophetstown. I'm just saying, if it does, I'm suspicious. And how do they know it was in China? They said that twice.
I don't know.
It could be. I don't know.
So what you got for us, Steve?
Mexican aliens. Well,
Mexican aliens.
Kind of. Mexican Congress held a hearing last week on UFOs and featuring purported alien bodies.
Really?
Yeah. So kind of keeping with the theme, these I don't like calling them aliens. I prefer to call them galactic migrants. So
galactic migrants. Okay, we'll go with that.
That's nicer. Anyway, well, supposedly they came here and they got mummified a while ago. So this is kind of old news, sort of, because they're dead. But they say they have the bodies, Now, this is Mexican Congress. So should they be believed as much as we believe our Congress? I don't know. They never lie. But I have a little video clip. Do you want to see what they look like?
Yes, please.
They're little guys. Here you go. And some of this is in Espanol. So I'll do my best to translate it after.
Okie dokie.
Creo que hay una demostración clara
there's a clear
de que nos
demonstration
encontramos ante
that we are dealing
ejemplares
with non-human
no
specimens
humanos que no tienen relación
that are
con
not
ninguna otra
related to
especie
any
en nuestro
other
mundo.
species in our world. Phone home.
By the way, you did an incredible job of doing that voice
You like
over.
my voiceover? Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
So that's what he had said, according
Right.
to the teleprompter. But they kind of look like E.T.
Yeah,
and they got the three
do.
fingers.
Yeah.
What if E.T. was a real story, but it didn't take place? It took place in Mexico.
Where like you just did a spin on it. You know, maybe Steven Spielberg knew something other people didn't know, and he put a spin on it and put it out to Hollywood, and there you go, E.T. You know?
Yeah, those things look freaky. Do you believe it?
I don't know if I believe it. I mean, here's the thing is I'm always willing to listen.
Right.
All right. I'm not going to jump on board of things and go, oh my God, it's got to be. It's real, man.
The thing is everyone's like, oh, it's non-human, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of non-human things on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Already. Doesn't necessarily have to come from space. You know, I kind of think that we're not alone. I kind of think that there is something here with us, but I'm suspicious. I think it might be native to Earth. I don't think these things are intergalactic necessarily.
You never know, dude. You never ever know. I mean, could take for instance the size of that thing. Could that be what people thought of as like either imps or gremlins or
elf,
something that is back old fairy tale stories? You know,
leprechaun.
Leprechaun.
Yeah,
you know, I. We pot the gold. Get it off your hands, you dirty bastard.
But that would be in Ireland. This is from Mexico.
Oh, you never know, man. I mean, maybe he went for a long walk.
Maybe it's on the other side of the rainbow. Is Mexico?
Yeah. What happens if he jumped on the rainbow and slid over to Mexico? You know, you never know.
I don't know.
Well, where's his outfit? I want to see his outfit.
They're always naked. You ever notice that? Like, why are aliens are always nude?
Yeah. Why didn't you ever think about putting on some clothes, man?
They didn't bite the apple in the Garden of Eden, and they didn't realize they were naked.
They didn't realize, but they didn't realize that other people wearing clothes, huh?
I'm glad people wear clothes.
Yeah, God knows a lot of them do. A lot of them need to.
Especially,
I can get
anybody over 30, and anybody under 21. Should wear clothes.
Yeah,
all the time, no matter
all
what.
All the time. Please
don't even go to the beach.
Please don't go to the beach.
No.
All right. With that being said, that was our news, and those were our announcements for today. And we thank each and every one of you for coming on, listening to us, and seeing us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to all our little stations. Subscribe to YouTube. Hit that bell in the corner so that every single time an episode comes out, you're notified of that thing.
If they made it this far, leave us a comment. Say hi.
Yeah, say something. Let us know what kind of show could you want that we could do for you. So with that being said, next, Mr. Mike Minigh from We Are Paranormal, a Paraflix series, and Miss Kat Armstrong, also a paranormal investigator. We are going to be talking about Ouija boards and spirit boxes, Steve.
Nice.
All right, so stand by. Hold tight. Let's begin. Boo.
Oh, Neal. I wish I had just one more chance to go on your tour.
Oh, hello. Well, guess what? You do this year. This October Halloween season, Graveside Paranormal is going to give you the best of the best. Come on out for our annual nightlife tour which we are going to actually start off on Friday the 13th at 115 Bourbon Street every Friday and Saturday night in October. And guess what, boys and girls? You come out also, guess what? On Thursday nights, 2 Thursdays, October 19th and October 26th, we are going to be having a tour from the Branding Iron, the Pavilion. It'll be going out there. On the 19th, you're going to have special guest host, who is going to be Mr. Tony Sobelski. And on the 26th, which is another Thursday night, you're going to have Mr. Bob from Bob After Dark. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to once again get into St. James Cemetery at night for a nice little lantern tour. Most of you will be able to grab a little lantern and we're going to walk through the cemetery at night. So come on out this October and enjoy the great stories that Graveside Paranormal delivers. And as always, boo.
Get tickets at tours.gravesideparanormal.com. Boo. And now, back to the Paranormal Guys podcast.
All right, we're back. Thank you, Graveside Paranormal and the Paranormal Guys, for those fine messages each and every time here on the Paranormal Guys podcast. Steve, today we are going to be talking about Ouija boards and spirit boxes, some of the differences between them. Our next two guests I met over at, you and I actually met, at Spirits in the Spring, Nick Sarlo's Spirits in the Spring.
Mm-hmm.
We were there, we had a table, and we have Miss Kat Armstrong from Paranormal Exposures on here. Mm-hmm. Then we have Mr. Mike Ming of We Are Paranormal, which is now on Paraflix.
Very cool.
So go ahead and get that app, click on that, become a subscriber to Paraflix, enjoy that. I'm a subscriber to Paraflix. I enjoy it.
Nice. I'm really thinking about doing it because there's a lot of great videos, and these guys are on it. I mean, it's worth it. And what is Paraflix like? It's a yearly thing, right?
Yeah, they have a yearly thing and they have a monthly thing.
Oh, so it's like can be convenient if you do it monthly and it's like smaller amount.
Yeah, it's not pricey at all.
Month.
It's a decently priced, for you guys and girls out there who are definitely into the paranormal. They also have Bigfoot, cryptids, blah, 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 all the good stuff. But enough about Paraflix.
All right.
Let us talk with our guests. But before we get our guests out, we actually have a short video to show everybody about what we're going to be talking about tonight. Ouija boards and spirit boxes. And it's a nice little thing because since the Barbie movie, we thought we'd put this little collage together. Steve, roll the film.
All right.
Hey there, Barbie. Let's have a seance party. Yes, let's talk to spirits. Mr. Howdy, can you hear me? I want to sell my soul. It's plastic. Will you buy it from me?
That's our little video. Right now, I want to welcome in Miss Kat Armstrong. Come on in here, Kat. And Mr. Michael Ming, or Mike Ming. How are you guys today?
Very good.
Doing great?
Yep.
Good. So what I want to do is like we always do, and I've done this with every guest. I always like to get to know everybody, okay? And so does Steve. We also like to get to know people. But our subject is Ouija boards and spirit boxes. But before we even get to that, Kat, ladies first, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the paranormal, and tell us a story, a very special story about how you got into the paranormal and what probably scared you.
Geez. I've been having experiences since I was a child. 3 years old, as far back as I remember having things happen. I don't really go into that in podcasts, but heck, let's do it.
What the hell?
I used to see things as a child that my family thought was a game, so they dubbed them monkey monsters. My brothers would fight them with wrapping paper tubes. I actually saw things and was terrified and in tears. My family didn't really understand that much. And they continued for years and years until we moved. I was 12 when we moved to Iowa from California. And I saw and experienced them all the way through until we moved away from that house. So it was odd. My mom actually used to make us tomato soup as protection. It had all of the things ever needed for making monkey monsters leave you alone. So that's me as a child.
Tomato soup?
No laughing at me, Mike. But yeah, I've had experiences my whole life. I have seen and experienced things forever. As far as paranormal, I started hanging out at locations in the 90s when I was in high school, and I just dated myself huge for how old I am. And actually investigating with equipment, I would say probably around 2010-ish, maybe a little
Okay.
earlier than that. Started investigating with my husband in 2012. So I'm sure it was earlier than 2010, but I didn't really put a date on it. So a while.
Okay, cool. Mike, what about you? How did it start all for you, my friend?
Pretty similar to Kat's, actually. I actually, when I was younger, my family lived in West Virginia, and we lived in some pretty sketchy places out that way, and I saw things I probably shouldn't have saw when I was 3-4 years old.
Talking paranormal, right?
Paranormal things, yes. Either or. But yeah, I had some pretty crazy experiences. And same thing, man. I've had them my whole life, and I've always been fascinated. But obviously, back in the day when we were younger, you couldn't talk about that stuff because people thought you were weird. Right? Now it's cool. Now it's cool to be a ghost hunter. But so yeah, and same thing too. I think I started actually investigate around 2010. So yeah.
All right, good. Now we're going to talk about Ouija boards right off the bat. I'm tell everybody a little bit about myself and Ouija boards because, like, I got to know you guys. So my experiences with the Ouija board, I would say I was about maybe 10 or 12 years of age at the time. And to be honest with you, I really don't even know where we had this thing. I don't even know how it got into the house. And reflecting back on it, I really don't know. But I do know this is that I remember watching certain movies and learning how to do this, and I used to play with it by myself, which
Ouija
is
boards.
number one a no-no. What's that, Steve?
Ouija boards?
Ouija boards, yes,
Nice.
Ouija boards.
Just checking.
So I would play with the Ouija board by myself, right? And as I was doing that, things started happening at night. Like, I'm already an empath, so I already hear voices and I get impressions. So in the beginning, at 10, 12 years of age, you really don't even know what these things are. And I started getting nudges in my sleep. I started seeing like these little shadow, little beings on the ground every now and then. And I didn't know what that was. And you felt like you were someone different. And that gets into the empathic thing. But I didn't know what that was. You're taking on someone else's emotions or some things' emotions. And you don't feel like yourself. So as a warning to people right off the bat, I'm going to warn you, do not play with Ouija boards by yourself. If you are going to do it with a group of people, please be very, very safe because these things are real. And part of Ouija boards is intent. It's not the board, that little Parker Brothers board that's going to all of a sudden push off some demon in your devil in your life, but it's the intent of the individual. That really, really causes a lot of this activity to happen. Kat, would you agree with me on that?
I do agree. I think that they have a bad rap because of TV. That's my first opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Things are very dramatic when you're trying to make things be scary and, marketable. So that's one thing of it. But I feel that Ouija boards are absolutely a useful tool when done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, my team doesn't really do them because you have to have the trust that the intent of everybody involved is the same as yours. And that's where I kind of draw the line on we don't do them a whole lot. I do have one. It's mostly in my closet for the most part. As a child, we did use them at a church event, which was very odd. That's
nice.
My first experience was at a church. I wasn't the one that brought it, strangely enough. But I just feel like intent is the biggest thing. It really is.
I think one of the important things to talk about, too, if we can tonight, is about closing the Ouija board, because a lot of people will pick these things up, play with them, and walk away, leaving the phone line open, if you will. And that can turn into some messed up situations for people.
Right.
Just my story with the Ouija board, I never played with the Ouija board as a kid or even as an adult, but like a lot of people, I would hear stories about the family that did, right? There was a girl who played with Ouija boards, a friend of my sister's, and they said that they threw the Ouija board out. They put it in the garbage, and this girl, she actually died, and a year later, I think her mom died in a car accident and stuff. So that freaked me out, and I know there's a lot of urban legends out there, a lot of people relate the Ouija board to bad luck, that type of thing. And I'm not sure if there's any truth to that, but I thought maybe we could also touch on that a little bit too.
Sure, of course. Mike, what about you? How do you feel about what we're talking about? Do you believe probably it's intent of the individual, or do you think maybe it's coming from the board? What do you think?
I agree with Kat. I think it is the intent of the individual. I just think a lot of times people that use Ouija boards, a lot of them, like he said, they don't know how to open and close them. A lot of the times it's kids trying to show off and act cool, and they open it up this portal and don't know what to do, or stuff like that. So yeah, I personally, I stay away from them.
Not me too. I stay away from them as well, as just from the experience as a child.
Yeah.
But here's one of the things about Ouija boards. It's not like when they first came out, I believe it was 1891 that they came out, that they have a manual of how to open and close things. They just put it out there for spiritualism, which started with the Fox sisters in like 1848, when they were rapping on the walls and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so there's no manual with it. So somewhere down the line, someone started coming up with their own rules on these things, how to open, how to close. It's not like something that like I said, there's no manual with it. And one of the things is, like, we've been to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, which is in the Chicagoland area. And back in the 1950s, people used to notice blue orbs of light bouncing around in there. And with that, it's going to bring in the wrong people. And what happens is that it did bring in the wrong people, devil worshippers, people using Ouija boards, digging up graves. And that causes, in my opinion, a form of possession. And that form of possession from the intent, once again, the word intent is happening, whereas they're opening up these things and none of them know how to close it. And not that I know how to close it, because I'm not an expert in that. I'm just who I am.
Yeah.
So with that, we get all that happens. And like I said, you get a form of possession that starts to occur in that. When you guys go to any sites, does anybody usually try to bring a Ouija board with them?
I don't for my team investigations, just because I don't think it's necessary. We get communications with other things just as well, if not better. And like the reality of it, just like the fact that we've touched on Ouija boards as being the bad guy in the room already, isn't everything that we're doing with every piece of equipment communication. Right. There has to be correct usage, correct intent, correct understanding of what you're doing, whether it's a Ouija board or any other device that every person is using, even your cameras, even your everything. You're making possibilities of other things happening. It's, the Ouija board isn't necessarily like the one thing that this can happen with. So many people are going and playing around in locations with gear that they don't know what they're doing. And there's potential of a lot of things happening to a lot of different people for different reasons. I just think we kind of give the bad rap to the things that have had the movies about them. And once the movies realize, like, we have all this equipment that lets us talk to spirits, they're going to have some different movies of all of the things that we do someday.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that.
I think some of the bias comes from the things that happened to the Fox sisters, who were some of the the original, like, famous people who used it. Didn't they suffer from alcoholism, and they died in poverty, and all these bad things had happened to them?
So the one sister, she, sometime down the line, she became an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And she decided, because they were like Beatlemania, they were like huge back in spiritualism, because this was started the beginning of spiritualism. And so one of the sisters, she was an alcoholic, and she decided to go in front of the whole crowd at a podium, whatever, and say, "Hey, this is all bull. Me and my sister have been doing this for years." But then she retracted everything after that. So once again, alcoholism. I mean, now you're opening up things also when you start using inhibitants in your body.
Right.
That in my professional thing from going back and forth to these things is that's going to start also.
That's way worse than playing with a Ouija board, playing with alcohol.
Much worse. Much worse.
it'll open up a portal.
Right.
For sure.
Now, go ahead, Steve. You were saying.
So yeah, a lot of the bad rap I think comes from some of people correlating the fate of the Fox sisters and like, oh, if you play with Ouija boards, you'll get possessed and bad things will happen to you. And there's a bias, a Ouija board bias, and we use a lot of equipment. I think
every time when you use like any, let's just say an EVP, you're trying to get EVPs. Well, what are you doing? You're reaching out, right? So you're reaching out, and you might get these malevolent spirits that are out there that are going to be playing around with you. You and I, from doing investigations, each and every one of us, we know that there's sometimes that there's spirits out there that are just on some bull, and they want you to believe that they're a child or a loved one, so that they can bring you in.
Right. This bad luck thing with Ouija boards, I feel like it's embedded in our culture to believe that, and maybe the belief of that actually manifest, where we don't necessarily believe that with SB7 or SB11 or any other devices that are out there, SLS camera. If you use that, there's not this thought that, oh, something bad will happen to me. But there is with the Ouija board. And maybe there's something to, that whole thing where if we think about it, we create it.
Sure, it's a thought. Now, Mike, let me ask you a question. Spirit boxes. What spirit boxes? Now, I see you have a homemade box.
Yeah, I made this one here.
Nice. Okay. I like that.
Wow, that is neat, dude.
Yeah, it's kind of on the lines of your guys's that you had.
Kind of like the Anahata. What do you call it? Do you have a name for it?
Yeah, I call it the Bugsy box.
The Bugsy box?
It's a nickname somebody gave me a while back. People called me Bugsy.
Yeah.
So I just named it the Bugsy box.
The Bugsy box. Now, is yours based off also of Huff's original designs?
I actually got the plans from Steve.
Yeah.
And I just kind of twisted them and made it my own.
Yep.
That's exactly what Steve did. He we started out with a box called the Chakra box,
which is kind of a reverse engineering of one of his boxes.
Yep, that's what mine is pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, and then it just got creative. Like your box looks very different than anything Huff has, and yeah, you kind of make it your own. It's cool.
Now, would you say on a percentage of the time, getting intelligent answers to your questions? Let's say you go out for one evening at a haunted site, and after you're done filming, I'm assuming you go over all your film, like a lot of people do. Out of the whole thing, what percentage makes sense for you?
Through the portal box, I'd probably say at 40 to 50%.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty darn good.
There's a lot of gibberish in there, but they're designed to do that,
Oh yeah.
So
now, is yours streaming through the Wi-Fi?
No, I use an app. I use the Portal Plus app. Mine's actually your guys is completely portable, right? You don't need outlet power.
Yeah, we're portable. We have batteries.
Yeah,
right.
So that's what mine is too. But I use a couple of different apps with it. Sometimes I'll run SB7 through it.
Sure.
As well.
Okay. All right. So, now, Kat, what do you usually use for your spirit boxes?
We have a mix. So some of our team just goes classic SB7T. The 7 by itself is just too quiet. The T has got the volume. Even though it's the temperature, they're different. We have one. It's a ghost box built by Rob Hernandez out of California. We absolutely love those. We've got a couple of them within the team. They do radio sweep like the SB7, but they have kind of like the portal built in. They have a reverb and they have a noise canceling right into the device. We get really good luck with those.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to you again, Kat. In your opinion, spirit boxes, is that the modern day Ouija board?
That is a great question. I don't know that they're necessarily the same. I'm going to go through my theory on what I think the difference is really quick.
Please.
So spirit box is a device that most of the time you are just observing. You are there and you are listening to what comes through it. And that spirit box can have those communications whether you are in the room or whether you are not in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So those things can continuously happen whether you're participating in that interaction or not. And for me, a Ouija board, you are putting your hand on a planchette, on a board, saying, Spirit, use me to make this happen. You are being a conduit that Spirit is interacting through in order to make that interaction happen. So you are more involved or invested in a Ouija board interaction than you are in just listening to a spirit box.
Okay.
Now, in comparison, I would say an Estes session would be more like the modern day Ouija board because you are putting yourself in the middle as the conduit for the communications. You are now saying, use me to have these communications through this box to make the answers go to those people.
Right. Yeah,
and
makes sense.
You're putting the focus into I'm the thing you're using and make this happen. I think that would be the comparison.
And I think that the SC method works very well with empaths or anybody who's in tuned.
Yes.
Definitely. Steve, you had something?
That's real interesting about the touching or being a part of it. When we're out on investigations, Neal, we'll sometimes have people, and Mike, maybe you do this too, have people touch the box to get better communication. And we've had that happen several times that now we actually have people come up and grab the copper wire on the box and be a conduit themselves. Do you have that sort of experience, Mike, where touching the box actually makes it more?
Yep, either the copper or the crystal.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that kind of puts us a little bit in that Ouija board category if we're interacting that way. We built the box ourselves, right? It's something that, our mind, I don't know about you, but when I built mine, I would wake up at 3:00 in the morning with an idea, and I'd have to go and build this thing. And so I'm kind of like putting myself, my imagination, my time and energy into building it. And that,
So basically what you're saying, we put our energy into it already. So there's already an energy source into the box, basically. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Now, one of the things, now I'm a cat. Are you an empath?
I don't claim to be anything, but Mike's nodding his head correctly. So,
okay. The only reason why is
I have a lot of experiences of a lot of things, but I don't label myself as any of them.
All right. Well, let me ask you this question then. When you do hear voices, do you usually always hear it out of your left ear?
Mine is my right.
Okay. See, mine is my left.
Interesting.
Almost all of my experiences are related to my right, which is weird because I also have off and on hearing issues with my right ear, which makes it even weirder for me that my right ear triggers my first interactions for things. And it's always my right.
Are you left or right-handed?
I am somewhat ambidextrous.
Interesting. Okay. See, I it's very odd. Like I've actually talked to, who did I talk to? She does it. Elliot's wife. What's her name? What's her name?
Nate?
Yeah, Natalie. Natalie. I'm sorry if I got your name wrong for a second, Natalie. I wasn't thinking. So I know that she gets it out of her ear as well. So the question I have for you for this is, do you sometimes walk away when you're using spirit boxes, feel like you have an attachment?
I don't regularly feel like I have an attachment. I feel like that I have open communications with things, but I don't I don't know. That's a really tough question.
Let me help you out. So I get it. Where like I use the box, the Anahata that Steve designed. I get the emotions and I feel the emotions of whatever the spirit is of a person or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, I sometimes have to hang out around my couch for at least 1 to 3 days thinking about this. Does that sound like anything that's familiar to you?
I don't think that I let my guard down to that extent for them to be able to do that. And I think the difference is because I'm also in a haunted location 6 days a week. that I feel like I put up a barrier because I don't want to have that happen. I've had connections where I've had things that have stuck with me, and that's not what I'm in this for. So I'm very adamant that whatever's at location stays at location. I'm not necessarily in a state most of the time when I investigate that I've opened myself up completely intuitively.
Okay.
So,
Mike, what about you when you're using your spirit boxes or anything like that? And you're the designer of your spirit box, so I'm assuming majority of the time you utilize this box. Do you ever feel like any kind of attachments going on when you leave locations?
I don't think I've ever gotten an attachment from using it, but I have been affected by using it. One of the clips that I sent to you, I was called out a certain person's mother on it. Well, I didn't really call her out. I wasn't being rude. I wasn't, accusing or anything like that, but she got me. And she even told me through the box that she was going to make me sick. And I was sick for 2 weeks.
Okay. Oh, wow. Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, do you have that video right there, what he's talking about, since we're touching on that subject? Can we roll his video first?
This is the video I have. I'll roll it now.
From Mike.
I want to hear Augusta's name come through the box. Go ahead. That just said right there. She's gonna mess with you. Your stomach.
You're gonna feel sick. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I feel sick.
That's why I was asking you where your stomach, because that's what it happened.
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't even get it out yet, and it even said right when I went to go like this, it was like, you're gonna feel sick. Right when I was telling Nate that I was going to get, I didn't feel good. So.
Right. Now, you know what's interesting about the spirit boxes is how you start to get an ear for these things. Because when you originally start using these things, man, it's gibberish. You don't even understand, but then you start to develop an ear for stuff like that. Did you send us another video, Mike?
No, I think that was it. There was just a couple clips in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, it's real interesting. And I want to touch on something, Neal, because this happens with us too. Before the box responds, you actually... like it predicts what you're asking. It'll even finish your sentence for you. You have that too, Mike?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy. And we actually have a clip that kind of relates to this. It's from our Glimpses video, Neal, where just to set the setting, Neal and I were just starting out doing tours, and I'm downstairs in the Irish Legend in the basement waiting for the tour to come down. And so I have it's the chakra box, our first box on, and it's actually finishing what I'm saying, let me play this, okay? Because it touches on this kind of weird phenomenon. All right, this is Steve with Graveside Tours downstairs on October 13th. This is Friday the 13th, October 13th, 2017. Looks like we got something showing up on the camera. Haunted pub crawl. Just a moment. So what was weird, this is before I could hear what was happening in live. Like when we played it back, we're like, what the heck? And it's sort of like real time, almost one of those was right before I said it, and then it finished my sentence. Kind of weird.
You said haunted pub crawl, and it repeated exactly what you said.
Right.
Yep.
So that's pretty interesting. Now, Kat, let's get to you, my dear. For you gave us some videos as well. Let's play one of your videos for you. You brought us TikTok videos.
Okay. Let's go with the first one here. And then,
if you are in here with us, can you tell me your name? I didn't catch what that was. Can you come in here? Sure. Trish said she thinks it said Roberto. It just did, Trish. It said it again, Roberto. Did you live here, Roberto? That's the same voice. Were you here when it was a boarding house?
Wow.
So where was that taken at, Kat?
So that's at Lemp Mansion down in St. Louis. We are actually down in the basement in the area where the tunnel underground used to be. They have it set up with tables and stuff just to be a place to gather and eat and whatnot. But we're in that room down in the basement space of Lemp.
And what's interesting about that is like we've been to places like you have, and you're asking for a name, and it keeps coming up the Roberto on you. Now, was there a history or something like that of someone being Roberto there?
Not at all. Not that we know of. But for me, that's where you have to start digging. That's where you're like, okay, I need to figure out something more. We haven't yet found anything. It's just a random name. But the fact that he was able to repeat it through Spirit Box just is one of those ways of knowing it's an intelligent communication.
Oh, yeah. It said 3 times, at least 3 times from what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
It's always interesting when you get that. Like, we go to a place called the Roth House that's in Watseka, Illinois. It's the first documented possession in America. And because we do tours out of there as well. And we get the father's name quite a bit on there. His first name is Asa Roth. And how is a name? It's not a common name. And you keep hearing that name over and over again in a haunted location. It's like these things, we all understand that they're electronic, but energy can manipulate things. And that is amazing when all of a sudden you actually start getting these things to happen and start working. That's the most amazing part about some of these spirit boxes that are out there.
Right.
And I believe you have another video. Am I right, Steve?
Yeah. I'll play this one.
Are you one of the children?
One of the no children?
That sounded like what it said was more children. I'm a mom. It would make me very sad to lose my children.
Help.
Does that help? How can I help?
Can they help you out?
That was another man's voice. Is that you, Mr. Moore? Or is it someone else?
And what place was this at?
That's at the Villisca Axe Murder House. And
really?
apparently
I
gave you the short clip because the last thing it says after I said, is it Mr. Moore or is it someone else? It actually clearly says someone else. Okay. Sadly, I think I might have gave you the short one, and that's it.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's totally fine.
But yeah, so the Axe Murder House, the 6 children, 4 that belonged to the family, plus 2 neighbor girls, and the mom and the dad were all murdered with an axe. The last name of the family is Moore, Moore. So when we got the response, more children, my stupid brain is going, oh, more children. And my husband's like, yeah, the family, last name Moore, children. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But I wasn't ready mentally to have a reaction of them talking about the kids because, like, I don't normally get anything to do with the kids there.
Yeah, you originally said children first, and then it said more children.
Yeah, but you know, that's to me, that's something is there that is answering. It's not just a residual interaction at that point for me.
Right. Definitely. Now, Mike, if I can get to you, let me ask you this. Do you think that spirit boxes, take for instance, Kat went to the Villisca Axe Murder House. Do you think the spirit start learning what these boxes are, and it becomes much easier for them because they recognize it. And when you go to that home location, it makes it easier for you.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, and I also think spirits can attach to these devices and move from place to place. Because I also had my box at Villisca Axe Murder House.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so,
really?
I mean, yeah. And I got similar stuff through the box that Kat got, which is weird because you guys were upstairs in the More Children's room. I could tell by the bed, and that's actually I got that through my box as well up there, More Children. So it's crazy that he played that.
Yeah. Do you think that we're getting better and better as we progress to actually make complete communication with the other side, Mike?
Yeah, and I think it depends on the person, and going back to the intent thing.
Right.
I think like Kat. Obviously, I mean, I think Kat can go anywhere. I mean, she's so, like she said, she's at a haunted location 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week. So these spirits start to understand and know who they're comfortable communicating with, right?
Sure.
So just not some Joe Schmo can walk into Edinburgh Manor and expect to get anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really awesome when you get someone like a Kat, or like in the next video I'm going to show you, who are very in tune with things. And these spirit boxes, either like our Anahata box or your Bugsy box. I want to show you a video where we had a lady hold a conversation with supposedly her dead mother-in-law. Steve, can you roll that?
Yeah, I'm going to roll it. I just want you to pay attention to what she does. She instinctively grabs onto the copper wire. You know what I mean? To make this communication happen. Let me roll this.
Mom, Hayden moved back home. She's here with us. Back home.
Nice.
Taking care of Dad, helping me and Matt take care of Dad. We miss you, and we want to say that MJ is doing excellent. Nick re-enlisted for 3 years back in the Air Force. Nicole is getting married in 3 weeks. And you would approve of Nick.
Now, in that video there, you see where like they are holding a conversation. It's an intelligent answers to intelligent questions, of course.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of that video?
That's insane. I mean, it was clear responses and like immediate responses to her questions. So that's insane.
We noticed that some people can go up to the box and have an interaction like that. And it's not common, but I think this lady's come back on our tour a couple times looking to see if she can recreate a situation like that. And she has some good conversations with it, but nothing I think ever matched that original one. But it's very interesting. She does have, like, some people just it doesn't make any sense at all what's coming out. And then other people will come up, and every time they touch it, there's something that happens. Do you think that we're bringing something, not just our energy or letting them run through us, but do you think that, like, we have attachments of some sort that might follow us, and they know that we're going to the Moore house, and so they just, like, that's what's coming through, and not necessarily the spirits that are supposed to be in the place? Like,
could be. I mean, we all technically have spirit guides or guardian angels or whatever you want to call them. You know what I mean? So I think they're around us everywhere we go.
Right.
So do they help? Could they help, other people communicate with us? Absolutely.
Okay.
Interesting.
Kat, what about you? What's your opinion on, do you think that some of the spirits that we're hearing from these boxes are probably spirits that are following us?
Don't necessarily think that they're following. I don't think that they have the same timelines. Like, we have a timeline. We have a set schedule of seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years. I believe that once you are on the other side, that you don't have that same restriction, and they can instantly be wherever you're wanting them to be when you want them to be. And if you're a person that easily connects with the other side and asks for them to be there, they can be there whenever you want them to be there. That's how I feel. I've had enough experiences where I've been able to say, hey, I really was hoping I could talk to so-and-so, and I have had them come through. I've had Mike on a tour with me one time, and we're in a room at Edinburgh Manor, and I'm like, yeah, sometimes we get communications with Jerry in here. I'm hoping that he'll come through. And then we had a man's voice say something, and I'm like, that was a man's voice. Who are we talking to? And clear as day, it's Jerry. Now, is Jerry following me around that I can conjure him on tour because he's my attachment? I don't think so. I think Jerry just comes when he wants to talk.
Now, Kat, how many times do you think when you are talking to like a spirit box, through a spirit box, that are possibilities of being manipulative spirits?
All the time.
Yeah. That's
All the
probably
time.
it's probably not the real spirit that you're looking for.
I think it depends. I do feel strongly that some of them are who they are. Jerry, for example, will have very specific conversations in relation to specific things. We just had people reading his favorite book on Monday because they know that's his favorite book. And he literally, through device, says, sit down, read. And they're like, okay, do you want me to read this book or this book? And they specified which of the two books they wanted, which was his Davy Crockett book. You know, I don't think there's any malicious intent in any of that. Why would a malevolent spirit care what book we're reading?
Right. You know, like some like earthbound spirits, they're stuck in that spot, or they have choice. They choose to stay there. And you're going to be able to figure out, if you're doing that on an everyday basis, you know, actually part of their character. So you're probably catching on to that as being that person. So I take that to you, Mike. How many times do you usually think that maybe if you're going in, like we've been to the Sally house. Have you ever been to the Sally house? Either one of you have ever been to the Sally house?
I haven't.
Okay, Sally house. To me, there's two very strong entities inside the Sally house. And the story goes that it's supposed to be a little girl that is supposed to attack men. And we've been in there. And we've done this before. We're like, we believe it wants you to believe that it's a child. But the minute that you call it out for what you believe it is, you stop. Everything stops.
Everything stops.
Any more communication or anything like that. Do you ever have that happen?
Well, here's a real quick story. Speaking of the Sally House, I can't say the name of the group on here, but because they film on TV, but they had just went to the Sally House a week prior to. We actually filmed an episode with them, and two of the people on that team are skeptics about the portal boxes and yada yada yada, right? So I turned my Bugsy box on, and we were sitting and we're having a conversation, asking questions. And while he was talking, we kept getting the name Sally over and over and over and over. Sally, Sally, Sally. I had no clue that they were just at the Sally house until later on that night when he was like, that's crazy that came through, because we were literally at the Sally house.
Wow.
And he thinks that he got an attachment from the Sally house.
That's a good possibility.
So I mean, it was just crazy. And I've never heard the name since come through that box. So just weird. So
sounds like Mike and I have a trip to the Sally house coming up. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm telling you, you know what? I'm like, you're not too far from the Sally house, Kat. You're not too far from the Sally house. I believe that's in your area over there.
I think it's about 6 hours.
Yeah, it's a bit of a ways, I think.
Hold on, where was it at? Was that Atchison, Kansas? Yeah. I'm
it's
sorry.
6 hours for me.
Yeah, I'm off.
Yeah, no, it's
6 hours is just a tip across the pond.
See, like they told you earlier, Neal had his best 5 years of his life was in third grade. Come on.
You know, Atchison, Kansas, I think is a very haunted town.
Oh, that town.
I don't think you can leave Atchison, Kansas without an attachment.
Oh yeah,
awesome. We're going to be going there next year, but not necessarily Sally.
Oh man, I'd love to join you because that. Did you guys ever watch a show back in the 90s called Sightings?
Yeah.
So that was my show, man, back in the day, right? And that was my bucket list of haunted locations to go to is Sally House, and I finally got to go there. And it's a very interesting. We have our little documentary up on our YouTube series. You can check it out. But the last question I'm going to ask both of you, because I know everybody's on their time limits here. Ouija boards, spirit boxes. We'll start with Ouija boards real quick. Should people use them or should they not use them?
I mean, I think it's a personal preference. My personal opinion, no.
Okay.
Because half the time, 90% of the time, people don't know how to use them correctly. So I would say no.
Okay, so now the argumentative part about that. But yet you people like you and me use spirit boxes.
Mm-hmm.
So are we a contradiction? And understand, I'm not putting you on the spot or anything like that because I'll answer it just as much. Are we a contradiction of what we're saying to people by saying that, hey, don't do this, but it's okay to do that?
Well,
what would you say?
All four of us are obviously professionals, so no, I don't think it's contradicting because I think once that spirit box goes off, the connection's closed, right?
Okay.
Just because it is electronic, I think once that's shut down, connection is over.
I think you're not completely right on, but I think you're just about on top of that one.
That's the way I look at it.
It's energy. It's energy. It's definitely
it is. Yeah.
But it's also intent, right? Or okay, so when I turn it off, I intend the connection to be closed.
Right.
And that closes it. My intention is this is closed. And I think that's how you close out a Ouija board in some sense is you actively disengage. You close it. You're done. But I have a question about how to close a Ouija board. I'm not sure how to do that, but I think it's a lot like how we close our spirit box sessions. In my mind, I am done, and I turn it off. The connection's cut, and that's what I, believe. And so far, it's I guess okay.
So far.
So Neal has our Anahata box at his house right now, right?
Which my wife doesn't like.
Yeah, and I built it, I keep it, but Neal operates it. Okay, and so are you using it, Neal, at all?
No, I don't. I don't get obsessed. I do not get obsessed with these things. That's the one thing that people need to understand. You go out and you go buy these boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And people start getting an obsession with that. Well, what happens with obsession? Possession.
Right.
The more we obsess with things, we start to get possessed by things. So I already know that going into it. So a lot of people who have these spirit boxes are out there. Only use it when you're going on investigations, and do not open these things inside your house. I don't turn things inside my house.
Here's my point on that. If you're not obsessed, if you're not like being called to use it, if you're not like being drawn to it, it's closed. If you are being drawn to it, it's open.
Okay. Now, so the last question, once again, is to Kat. The last question I just asked Mike. What's your opinion on it?
I think that
Say that again.
I'm trying to think what the question was. I'm like, wait a second.
No. Because I was
three things there.
Yeah, there's a lot unpacked there.
Yeah, it's probably, I was probably talking too much. That's normal, The question is about Ouija boards and spirit boxes. Is it okay to have a Ouija board and go ahead and utilize that, or do you recommend people not to use it? Is it okay to use a spirit box, or are they both in the same realm where they're both a form of communication, and also at the end for intent?
Yes, and yes. No.
Bam! Hold on, I had a little buzzer earlier. Hold on.
No, I feel like if you know what you're doing, it's a whole different ballgame. So for me, I personally would feel comfortable using any of the above.
Oh, okay.
But I know what I'm doing and I know what I feel comfortable. One of my other things that I do a lot is I do mirror scrying and things like that. And it is very much about the intent. When you are done with your mirror, when I teach the classes, I literally say, when you are done, turn your mirror over upside down. Not only are you physically closing your mirror to yourself, you are making a very clear statement of, I'm done and I'm not communicating anymore. And then we pack it away until next time. I don't leave black mirrors open in my house for just random staring into. I use them and then I close them. And then with the Ouija board, it's the same thing. If you know what you are doing and you have your intention to close that and finish what you are doing, then you are done.
So
you do psychomantium.
What was that?
What's that?
It's called psychomantium. It's
where the mirror stuff,
incense in the mirrors and stuff like that. People have called it psychomantium.
So a psychomantium is actually the dark room that you would be doing all of that in, and I don't actually have a specific place that is a psychomantium. If I went and I'm debating on the closet of this room and turning it into one, because I would be able to very easily set up a permanent location for that. But then I would have to relocate 40 tubs of fabric that I'm sewing. So that's kind of a choice to make.
Yeah.
But yeah, the psychomantium is the actual dark room that you would have for those things. And I can scry sitting at the same table that I'm sitting with my laptop at.
Right. Because they have it a place. You ever hear of a place called Whispers Estate in Indiana?
Yep.
Okay. So they have nothing but people keep donating mirrors to this place. And that place there, people are opening up things and oh my God, we've got so much evidence on the side of that place.
That is interesting about the psychomantium. And do you remember the ladies, they went into a closet and they stayed there all night while we were investigating? And they had all those mirrors. So there might have been a lot more going on than we know about. Neal.
Yeah, just real quick, and we won't stay too long. So when we went into that place, the whole neighborhood is freaking weird. Just to start off, the whole little town there.
It's
weird.
Different.
It closes at 7:00. I mean, everything closes. All lights go off at 7. And we go inside there, and there's these two witches, and I knew that they were witches because of the tattoos that they were having. And they're like this. They're like, I was talking to them about certain things, and they were just so odd. Like they would go in this back room.
They were super nice.
I don't know. They were cool as hell, man. They were awesome.
They're very cool.
But I just found it really, really odd. Like they went,
but they hung out in that room all night.
To certain questions. Like they were hiding something. I don't know. It was really, really weird. But you know what? I just want to say thank you very much, Kat. And
I got one last question.
Oh
I really need to know.
Please.
We need to know this because people are watching this and they're going to see the Ouija board, and we're talking about using them. How do we close one in a responsible way? What is that process like? Is it just like intent? Is it just close? Like how Mike and I will just turn off the box, right? We're done. We closed it.
For me, because there's not a switch. I will verbally out loud say that it is done. You don't have to have a specific scripted words that you have to have. It's not like a magic spell that you're, if you mess up a word, you've ruined it all. But you have to be very focused. So if you're closing a board, you're going to say that I am done communicating at this time. Nothing else is allowed to come through and communicate. It's the same thing a lot of teams do when they're closing an investigation.
Right.
I am done. I am no longer willing to have communications with whatever is coming through this board. This is it. I'm done. Next time that I am able to communicate, if you are something that wants to communicate with me, I even limit it to most of the time, I only want to speak to things of higher vibration. I don't want necessarily the attachment type creature, monster, negative things to come through. That's not what I'm really in this for.
Right.
Although sometimes it's entertaining. But for the safety of people, you have to be thoughtful about how you open it, even not just how you close it. I'm trying to do things that are not harmful to me or the people that I'm exposing to this. And now I am closing this with the intentions of you are no longer allowed to communicate with anyone that is involved with this or attaching to any of the things that have been a part of this session. I clearly stayed out all of it.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Well, once again,
Appreciate
I want to say thank you very much to Kat from Paranormal Exposures. I want to say thank you very much to Mike. Thank you for coming on here. He has a new series. Tell us a little bit about that series, Mike, if you want to.
Yes, it's called Our Paranormal Journey, and we are in the process of filming it right now. We're looking to get our first episode out on Paraflix in October.
Good for you.
So, yeah.
Good.
Yep. So go download Paraflix.
Go join Paraflix. Subscribe.
Kat,
Kat, what do you got going on in the near future?
What's that?
What do you have going on?
I have a lot of things going on. I am actually part of another podcast that is once a month right now called The Paranormal Report. I'm one of the co-hosts of that. That is on Paranormal Buzz Radio and Spreaker. I am continuously doing tours and check-ins at Edinburgh Manor. And then we obviously just do a lot of investigations, and we normally do share live because we do have a lot of people that follow what we do and participate along. And that's part of the experience that we provide as a team. So.
Oh, cool. That sounds really, really cool. And I hope you'll have us on your podcast one day.
We're not doing guests at this point. We're a 4-man woman. I'm the only woman. We've got the 4 hosts. This season is all going to be just topics and the 4 hosts. And then starting next season, we'll have guests. So we will definitely keep you as an option on that.
I can dig it. All right. Well, I wanted to say thank you very much for donating your time to us today. It's greatly appreciated. Steve, do you have anything to say as we go out?
You guys are amazing. It was great talk. Just learning about all this, and also kind of feeling a little bit better about if I were to use a Ouija board, that I know what to do. I know what I got to close. I got to open it in the right way, and I got to close it in the right way. So,
all right. Well,
very important info.
Well, that's Steve, and my name is Neal Gibbons. And as usual, boys and girls, boo.